Hello and welcome back to another episode of Pie Guy and Brodeur. One voice, two minds. I'm your host, Pie Guy, and you know what? Before we begin, always remember, you can find the rest of these Pietacular episodes and, of course, this one-of-a-kind podcast on YouTube, on that Brodeurland YouTube channel, and, of course, you can find it on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Amazon Music, and iHeartRadio. Now, today on this episode, we're going to be talking about the word attentive. That's right. And we're going to talk about what that exactly means and how we can apply this word of being attentive into our lives. Now, to help me do this throughout this episode, I will be circling back with the one, the only, drum roll please, Brodeur of Brodeurland, Mr. Brodeur. Hey, Pie Guy. That is right. We're going to be talking about being attentive. Now, Pie Guy, when people hear this word, attentive, they tend to think about listening to others, paying attention, and that is all true. But today, we're going to dive also into how we can be attentive to our own lives and the lessons that life gives us to really help us grow and, of course, become that best version of ourselves. Alrighty, Mr. Brodeur. Well, I'm excited and I'm ready to slice into this word and hopefully by the end be able to reflect on this episode and be more attentive in my life. So, without further ado, Mr. Brodeur, let's dive in and let me throw the first question out to you. What does it mean to be attentive? And why does it matter in our lives? And, of course, the lives of others. Well, Pie Guy, as always, great question to start things off. And, of course, to better understand this word attentive, let's start with looking at its Brodeurland definition. And it goes like this. You have to give close and thoughtful attention to others and, at times, yourself, while being polite, while being kind, and while being helpful. You see, Pie Guy, to me, being attentive is all about the attention you give to others. And of course, later on, we'll talk about to ourselves. But being in the moment with others and really paying attention to the details that they share with you. Now, today, when we look at being attentive, we will look both at how we can do so with others and also ourselves and our own goals. Our own goals, Mr. Brodeur? Yes, we have to be attentive and we got to be understanding about the details, the mistakes, and that forward progression for our own goals that we set for ourselves. I see, Mr. Brodeur. Now, I don't want to sound like a broken record, but doesn't this sound a lot like some of the other words of the week, like taking ownership, self-discipline, self-reliance? I mean, some of the other episodes we've gone through? Well, of course, Pie Guy, and as we continue to get further down the list of my words of the week and the more episodes we create, I hope that, again, you all are starting to realize that all these words, they're really linked together. Sure, to be attentive is good, but to elevate yourself and really grow and become that best version of yourself, you really want to learn how you can successfully apply all these words in your own life. That's the real secret when it comes to this podcast, my videos, and of course, the things that I create and I share with you all. It's all connected. All these words, all these lessons, they're all connected. Pietacular, Mr. Brodeur. So let me ask you this. Where do you want to start today on really tackling this word attentive? Well, Pie Guy, let's start with being attentive to others. What does that look like? What does it entail? Now, for me, being attentive to others sounds a lot like this quote right here. To be kind is more important than to be right. Many times what people need is not a brilliant mind that speaks, but a special heart that listens. Now, Mr. Brodeur, I'm going to interrupt you right here because sometimes it's important to make, the right decisions, right? I feel like being kind, being attentive, this quote may sound like being a little bit of a pushover. That's true, Pie Guy. I can see that perspective. But What I'm talking about here is being open to listening to others' opinions. And of course, in times of trouble, when people need an ear to listen and really vent out their frustrations. You see, when someone shares an idea, whether that idea is good or that idea is a bad idea, it is always important to make that person feel that they have a voice. That way, you can get that insight into their thinking, and you are more likely to come together as a team and to really see things through. And we're going to tap more into this as well, which I'm really excited in our next episode, which is going to be about communication. But you're not always going to agree all the time, and that's okay, because that's life. But being attentive allows everyone to be heard, allows a better chance for really people to work together. You see, this quote is all about being a listener, and more importantly, being that active listener. Now, throughout these episodes, I have from time to time brought up Mr. Rogers, the creator of Mr. Rogers' Neighborhood, a show I grew up watching. Yes, Mr. Brodeur, you have. And I remember you sharing, even in that Brodeurland Origins episode, that he was a major inspiration for you and Brodeurland. And of course, these words of the week. Yes, that is correct, Pie Guy. He is one of the main reasons for my creation of Brodeurland. And for me, he is a very inspiring person. I take a lot of his works, his ideas, his teachings, and I really apply it into my classroom, into my life, and of course, into my job. You see, my words of the week were inspired from Mr. Rogers and his show. He used to do a theme of the week on his show like superheroes or death or families or being scared and many more, right? Now, why I bring him up today is because Mr. Rogers used to say this about being a listener, about being attentive. He said the best gift you can give anyone is to be one more honest person in the lives of another. So, how do you do that, Pie Guy? I don't know, Mr. Brodeur. How do you do it? Well, Pie Guy, you got to be present in the moment with those people or with that person you are with right now or throughout the day or at work or in our lives, right? That's how you are going to get things done. Now, here's the deal. That doesn't mean that I can be in the same room with another person and I hear them speaking, but I'm also on my phone or watching TV at the same time. No, you have to stop. You have to pause. You got to look at that person and really be there. And more importantly, you have to be real. Be real, Mr. Brodeur? What do you mean? Well, Pie Guy, you got to be your true self. You don't have to try and be someone else. People can read if you're being fake and if you care for real. If you are giving them your undivided attention, right? Now, Mr. Brodeur, I hate to be devil's advocate here, but what if my real self is not so good? Maybe I'm bad at listening or, I don't know, giving advice. Yes, that's a great point and a great question, Pie Guy. Now, that is why you or many of you listening here right now, we're all trying to become that best version of ourselves, right? We're all hoping to evolve, to grow with these words of the week. But to be honest, sometimes it's more important to be there and listen than it is to really say anything. And if you don't have the answer, you know what? That's okay as well. Telling the people you hear them. And of course, that you'll find out for them that answer that they need, even if you don't have it at that moment. But at the end of the day, you can't be fake. You got to be real. You got to be authentic. And you've got to be you. Now, Pie Guy, in the past, when I was learning more about this word, attentive, I came across something interesting. Mr. Brodeur, what was it? What was interesting to you when you really dove into this word of being attentive? Well, Pie Guy, if you go right now and you Google and you type in listening and looking up listening under images, right? There are two types of images that you'll see, or at least I came across when I was doing my research and really looking into this word of being attentive. And one image is, of course, people talking, and you have a person listening, or even a person with a hand cupped around their ear, right? But here's the other popular image that I found, and it is people by themselves in these particular pictures with headphones, earbuds, AirPods, and they're all alone, plugged into their device, plugged into their music. Now, here's the deal before I get people a little upset with me. Don't get me wrong. It's okay to have me time. It's okay to listen to music. I'm not saying that that's bad. What I am saying is, are you attentive in the moment? You see, a lot of us at school, work, the grocery store, we're not always 100% attentive. We have an earbud, an earpiece in, maybe some headphones on while we are walking somewhere, while we do our shopping or at school, trying to sneak it past the teacher, right? But we have to be in the moment. We have to be attentive no matter where we are. That is how we're going to make a difference. That's how you are going to make that ripple effect to really affect the people in our lives. And Pie Guy, I'm guilty myself. Why is that, Mr. Brodeur? Why do you say you're guilty? Well, I'm guilty of not being attentive when I get home from work. You, Mr. Brodeur? Please elaborate. Well, Pie Guy, I think a lot of us can relate to this, but for me, I feel like I put my everything at work. I try to be excellent to the best of my ability, and I try to be attentive to my students, answer their questions, talk to my coworkers, teachers, admin, and by the time I get home, I'm done. I'm exhausted. I mean, to say the least, right? And the problem is, with a growing family and kids at home, I find myself trying to find me time, right? To catch up with some of the news, videos, and things, I enjoy listening or reading or researching and watching. But here's the deal. While I'm watching, while I'm listening, I also find myself at the same time trying to listen to my children, my wife. And I'm not really giving them my full undivided attention. And to be honest, I can get a little irritated because I'm trying to balance all this stuff. And that frustration and that anger tends to mount. And it's because I'm not in the moment. I'm trying to be divided amongst many things. And here's the deal. The addiction is so real with technology, social media, and any distraction we find ourselves in, right? And I feel like this episode is a reminder to myself to hit the pause button, to be able to stop, to be attentive to my wife, my children, or to whomever I meet, and to really be in the moment with them. Even if I'm exhausted, I have to find a way to really be there. That's how you're going to go out there and you're going to elevate someone and really lift yourself and really elevate your game. I love it, Mr. Brodeur. And thank you for being vulnerable with us. I think we can all relate to being halfway attentive, whether it's with our own families or the people at work or people we interact with. Yes, Pie Guy, anytime. And this is a great segue into the next aspect of being attentive, and that is with ourselves. With ourselves, Mr. Brodeur? Of course, Pie Guy, because if we want to be attentive to others, we have to work on ourselves. Mr. Brodeur, if I'm not mistaken, I feel like you always bring up for each word of the week a challenge that really links to ourselves. Well, Pie Guy, that's true, and here's the deal. In order to go out there and become the best version of ourselves, we have to be able to rule over ourselves. We have to have that self-control. We got to have that self-discipline. And once you are able to find peace in yourself, only then can you go out there and learn how to improve, help others, and of course, be attentive. And this quote says it all here about life lessons. And it goes like this: life teaches you a new lesson every day if you are attentive enough in the class of life. You see, Pie Guy, I love this quote a lot. Why is that, Mr. Brodeur? Here's why, Pie Guy. It is a reminder of the importance and, of course, the beauty behind life's lessons. You see, in every moment of every day, there are lessons to be learned. The question is, are you attentive enough to learn from those lessons? You see, Steve Jobs, the founder of Apple, and that iPhone you might be holding in your hands right now to listen to this episode, he said this in one of his last speeches before his death. that through life, you are constantly connecting the dots. The problem is you can't connect the dots in the moment, but you can connect the dots reflecting back. And to illustrate that, I'm going to take a story that most people might have heard, and that is David and Goliath. Mr. Brodeur, I really know this one. I'm excited. Let's see where you go with this. Well, Pie Guy, a lot of people know the story of David and how he took down Goliath, this big giant, right? And how David was seen as this underdog. And then, of course, David won against this giant. But here's the deal. If you rewind a couple of chapters or pages in the Bible, you find little David and how he wanted to go out to war with his brothers, but he was too small and he was not ready. So they told him to tend to the sheep out in the pasture. But he was so disappointed because he wanted to be out there with his brothers and to fight. He used to ask, why do I got to tend to the sheep, right? And just like some of us, we're always grinding through the days and the moments, and we might think, what is the point of all this, right? Why am I doing this task, this job? And for me, maybe these podcast episodes, these videos, right? Here's the point. When David was tending to the sheep, he had to deal with normal duties of protecting them from beasts of the wild like lions and bears. Now, to him, over time, that became a simple task, a routine chore. Now, fast forward to David versus Goliath. David has to bring food to the war camp for his brothers. And when he arrives, he wonders, why is everybody sitting down? And he finds out that no one wants to face Goliath. To David, he finds that surprising. That giant right there? To David, Goliath was nothing compared to the bears and the lions and the beasts of the wild that he had to take down while protecting the sheep. So what happens? David goes out there. He beats Goliath. Now, hearing that pre-story right there, you might now realize David was not really an underdog when you connect the dots back. All those life lessons he learned from protecting his sheep led to that courage, that ability to take down Goliath. But see, he was attentive to all those life lessons he went through, even though he might have not realized it at the moment. So here's the deal. Can you be attentive to what is happening in your life? Can you connect the dots in your life? And can you keep moving forward? Pie-dacular, Mr. Brodeur. You know what? I never thought of David and Goliath that way. You are so right. There are life lessons to be learned, and we may find our day-to-day life routine like David as pointless, but if we do things in excellence, that will help us grow and prepare for the events and the adventure that really awaits for us in the future. Exactly, Pie Guy. And I can't tell you how many times I might have complained about a task or got tired of certain routines in my life. But here's the deal. The routines, procedures I needed to do for my videos, my stories, this podcast has helped shape me so much. Like I share all the time, these words of the week have always been reminders for myself in how to improve. And you see, what everyone listening is experiencing is really me publicly sharing my journal, my experiences with these words. And hopefully you can grow alongside me as I share these experiences, as I really get vulnerable, as I really share my process throughout the past couple of years. Man, Mr. Brodeur, I love it. And I really love how you create and you use, I guess you said, like these journals, these experiences, these life lessons you're facing, and have a powerful practice of reflecting and looking at how all the dots in your life really connect. And you're willing to share that with us. 100% Pie Guy. All right, well, here's the deal, Mr. Brodeur. We are getting to that time where we do got to wrap things up. So is there anything else you would like to share when it comes to this word, attentive? Well, Pie Guy, I'll wrap up with this quote right here by John Philip Newell. And he said, let us be grateful. Let us be attentive. Let us be open to what has never happened before. Now, the part of this quote I want to focus on is the part where it says, are you open to what has never been done before? You see, that's the goal. So many of us, we are constantly looking to make a difference, to set ourselves apart, to become that difference maker. And if you look at Dave Ramsey, who's a financial guru, and people know him as that debt-free scream guy. I even did my debt-free scream on his show with my wife when we became debt-free. Oh, yes, Mr. Brodeur. I remember, I think you shared about that in your Brodeurland Origins episode. Yes, Pie Guy, I believe I did too. And, for me, when I think back, when I watched a lot of his videos as I tried to stay motivated and inspired to pay off my debt and my mortgage, I found he would always use this quote from time to time, and it goes like this. He says, in your work, while you are doing it, find a way to do it in an unusual way. That's the key. Can you stick yourself out? You see, when you are at your job, at school, or wherever, ask yourself, what is it that the world needs? What is it that the people need? What is it that, for me, the students need? Then, do I have the ability to fulfill that need? And now, here's the kicker, the most important part. Do I have the desire to really step up and really push forward and to be open to what I have never done before? That's the goal. That's the difference maker. But the only way you can achieve it is by being attentive, being in the moment with the people, that person you are with every day. Don't look for recognition. Don't look for fame. Rather, do everything in excellence to the best of your ability. Learn from the daily life lessons you come across in life on your adventure of becoming that best version of yourself. Pie-tacular, Mr. Brodeur. I love that last bit so much. It is so true. When we have to go out there and do everything with excellence to the best of our ability, it makes a difference. And I love how you challenged us today to be one more honest person in the lives of others. Hey guys, it's time to be attentive to others. And like you said, Mr. Brodeur, earlier, with ourselves. Pie-tacular. And remember, my friends, stay infinite. Don't put limits on yourself. Expand your horizons. And Mr. Brodeur, if you could finish us in style, sure thing. So always remember, you make each day a special day by just you being you. There's no one in the whole world like you except you. And I like you just the way you truly are. It's good that you exist, but here's the deal. You got to go out there. You got to be attentive. You got to be willing to really focus in. Be that one more honest person in the lives of others so you can go out there and become that best version of yourself. So until next time, Brodeur out. Peace.